Thank you for being here today on a busy deadline week. I appreciate that. House Minority Leader Tony McCombie, joined here by Deputy Leader Ryan Spain and Leader Dan Ugasti to provide an update on my lawsuit with the Illinois Supreme Court. The lawsuit was originally filed on January 28th, and a brief defending its timeliness was submitted on February 26th. Today, we are here with an important update. The Attorney General, who is responsible for defending the State Board of Elections, has declined to take a position on whether our complaint was filed in a timely manner. This is significant. The Attorney General, who has taken on similar cases before and whose role is to defend this lawsuit, is unwilling to argue that our complaint should not move forward. Then on Friday, Michael Casper, Mike Madigan's longtime friend, attorney, and number 3 on his magic lobbyist list, filed a brief to intervene on behalf of President Harmon and Speaker Welch. We see this as a very positive development. This case is about restoring voters' constitutional rights, rights that were taken away by an extreme partisan gerrymandered map. This is not just a Republican issue. This is about fairness for all Illinois voters. The voices of residents across our state must be restored, and we remain hopeful that the court will uphold the principles of fair representation. Now I'd like to introduce Representative Dan Ugasti.
Thank you, Leader McCombie. State Representative Dan Ugasti of the 65th District. Appreciate the opportunity to talk today. As the leader said, the status of the case was the response was due from the defendant to file the brief in response to the Supreme Court's order asking us to address the issue of timeliness, whether or not this lawsuit was timely. And as she clearly stated, the Attorney General Raoul, declined to take a position on this on behalf of the State Board of Elections. This is contrary to what's happened in the past when the Attorney General has filed a brief and taken a position on behalf of the State Board of Elections. So this no position is very significant. Speaker Welch and President Harmon then intervene in the case. Their attorneys, who are Attorney General special appointments at this point, but include Michael Casper, as the leader indicated, are asking the Supreme Court at this point, through a legal technicality, to deny an untold number of voters their constitutional right to their vote and the weight of that vote here in the state of Illinois. And the technicality they're relying upon, it's called latches. It's I won't say little used, but it's not something that you come across every day. I defended cases for 37 years, and not once did I ever use latches in defending a case. But I'm familiar with it. It's a two-pronged test. First, they have to show that the plaintiffs, being Leader McCombie and the 5 individuals in this matter, were not diligent in pursuing it. They're just sort of not paying attention, not doing what they should, and were not diligent pursuing their rights or the rights of others that they're trying to protect. As we've gone through in the past, 2023 brought in a new leadership team, and if we're going to follow the U.S. Supreme Court's guidance on when these should be filed, we needed to wait for 2 elections. We filed immediately after the second election, and the results were in. Furthermore, there's 3 of 5 election cycles left, which this map involves. So pretty sure we didn't lack any diligence in this. The next prong of the test is you have to prove prejudice to the defendants. And prejudice is my focus here today mainly because in what's alleged in the brief filed by Speaker Welch and President Harmon, I don't think they even touch on prejudice. They cite the census data stale, that 1/3 of the Senate will be unseated, that there's prejudice to voters, but if you look at the argument, it's just not founded, and it opened the door to challenges to other maps. None of this shows prejudice, because when you talk prejudice in a legal sense, you talk about their ability to defend their case. Their ability to defend their case is still intact. The data should all still be there. The people who were involved are all still there. There is no prejudice alleged that I could see in their reply brief. And certainly nothing that should outweigh the constitutional rights of our voters. Remember, we're talking, our expert found 52 districts are improperly drawn in this state. Given that we each represent approximately 108,000 voters, we're talking 5.6 million people there who aren't all voters but are constituents, many of whom are voters, and it impacts ultimately every voter in the state when you have that many districts, almost half the total, that don't even meet constitutional muster. The intervening parties are relying on a defense as nothing more than a mere attempt to keep power and control, while completely ignoring rights of voters and much less looking after their best interests. All this by using a legal technicality. Hopefully, we'll get a good result before the court. I'm going to turn it over to Leader Spain.
Thank you, Leader Ugassi. My name is Ryan Spain. I represent the 73rd District in the Illinois House. I live in Peoria. Well, a lot has happened on this case. As you've heard, the Attorney General has declined to take a position at this point on our lawsuit, which is unprecedented. And instead, coming forward is Speaker Welch. And who does he hire to replace the Attorney General to take action on this case, but none other than Darth Vader himself, Madigan's henchman, the Prince of Darkness, Michael Casper, who has been involved and called the chief weapon of Democrats against redistricting reform in the state of Illinois. And Michael Casper is now the point person to bring forward the defense against our lawsuit and continue to prejudice the voters and disenfranchised people throughout the state of Illinois. Let's just take one step back and remember a little bit of history, because sometimes we have short memories in politics. So let's talk about Michael Madigan. Michael Madigan served in this building for 50 years, and 2 months ago, he was convicted by a jury of his peers for bribery and corruption, primarily regarding the Commonwealth Edison scandal. 2 years ago, before now, 4 individuals, the ComEd 4, were also convicted for their role in attempting and succeeding, quite frankly, in bribing Speaker Madigan. That was Ann Pramajor, Mike McLean, Jay Doherty, and John Hooker. And if you remember the name John Hooker, it should sound familiar, because he was the plaintiff who was arranged to bring a challenge to the independent MAPS effort in 2016, where the signatures of nearly 600,000 people were tossed by the Illinois Supreme Court, defended again by the Democrats' chief weapon against redistricting and giving voters full rights, Michael Casper, in 2016. What else happened in 2016 that was good for ComEd and John Hooker and the rest of the ComEd 4? The Future Energy Jobs Act was passed. Just a few short months after the Supreme Court, through the efforts led by Michael Casper, were able to overturn the will of hundreds of thousands of voters in Illinois, keeping an important ballot initiative from the November election. It'd be all too cute if this wasn't our reality in Illinois. Time and again, we watch Democratic insiders conspire with one another to disenfranchise the people of the state of Illinois and prevent free and equal elections. It's a violation of our Constitution, and it has to stop. Usually they've been successful doing it in secret map rooms scattered throughout this Capitol complex. Now they're trying to get away with it in front of the Illinois Supreme Court. We're not going to give up. We're not going to let them do that. And we are dedicated and feel strong about our case continuing to move forward. And the addition of Madigan's henchman, Mike Casper, should just be a reminder to everyone how high the stakes are and why Democrats will do anything and everything to cling to power in the state of Illinois.